Welcome in, 29ers. Jason Matheny here in the mothership in Houston, Texas. Dealing with life just like everybody. If you're listening, I know it's election day today, and we just had Halloween, and was it daylight savings just ended? Terry Cushman, does daylight savings, like, I feel like it screws with me. I feel like my body doesn't adjust for like a solid month every time it swaps now.
Well, typically no, but I mean, I've been messed up since the Washington trip. I think I'm normal now,
I
but
mean,
yeah.
normal, like, normal for you is kind of for everybody else. But
Yeah.
normal Terry,
Yeah.
like normal tinfoil Terry. So
Yeah. It was fine, and I think in the fall it's easier because you're gaining an hour. In the
yeah, you get the
spring,
extra hour of sleep and stuff like that. Yeah, that's far
yeah.
better than the other one.
So you're
I'm sure
early
some.
for the playoffs the next morning. In that case, if you screw it up.
Okay, yeah, that's preferred. I'm sure there are so many stories of people. How many times did they say it at the as we transition talking about the Columbia tournament? How many times did they say daylight savings, daylight savings, daylight savings? Make sure that it's different now. It's 7:30 playoffs, but this.
Honestly, I don't remember hearing it. I mean, I'd be shocked if they didn't mention it once, but tinfoil Terry has a short attention span, so
What? No, come on. Like all of us. I mean, to be honest, I'd love to get like an informal poll one day of like, I don't know, like the 300, 500 people that actively play, right? That play normal tournaments, 5, 10 of them a year or whatever it is. How many of them have ADHD? How many of them are somewhere on like the spectrum and things like that? Like I'm sure the numbers, especially of some of the really, really sharp like cribbage players, right? Like you got like Voldemort, Rain Man stuff going on with all the players. But beyond that, before we go aside, so tournament South Carolina this weekend. I said after the Washington the tournament that if you did not come home with hardware, don't bother coming home.
Well,
Um,
I technically did. It was a runner-up board.
yeah, hey, get no two of them, right? You got two boards this weekend, or two trophies this weekend. Did you not? I don't mean to spoiler alert for
Yeah,
anybody listening, but I
y
believe you came home with multiple pieces of hardware.
2 trophies, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go on. Yes.
Alright, so let's just start from the beginning. Friday main, 12 gamer, I sucked. Same as the week before, I lost my first 3 games. I
Yeah, there's
typically
not a
don't.
lot to do once you lose your first three in a 12 game, right? Like you're kind of
Yeah,
stuck at that point.
yeah, you gotta go 8-4 or get a ton of skunks, or excuse me, 8-1 and then get a ton of skunks. So, didn't happen. 5 of my losses were by 17 or more. Voldemort refers to those as no skill games, whether you win them or lose them by that margin.
Yep, deck games. I agree. Yep.
And then in the Consi, I lose 2 of my first 3. So I'm like, great. This is shaping up awesome. But then I win 4 in a row. There was a skunk somewhere in there. So I've got 10 points, and it's an 8-game Consi. I should preface that. So I've got 10 points going into the last game. If I win, I'm in for sure. 11 seems to be the relatively safe number. 11 decent spread. I have to play Barry Guerin in that game, and Barry just owns me. And while we're at it, so does Michael Burnham. And we're going to get to a hand later on in the analysis where I botched it. And while we're at it, Jamie Fincher, she tossed me out of another playoff. So I just
So basically, you and Georgia do not get along. Like,
get
is that what?
Georgia off my table. Just get them off of there.
Okay.
I want to see lots of North Carolina, lots of Virginia, and I at least have a shot. But yeah, so anyway, so I lose to Barry, like it felt like I was going to, like the universe was trying to tell me as I took my seat. And so I handed my card. I'm like, it's a 10-5. This sucks. I just missed. And I just missed a couple of skunks too. So it was kind of a frustrating run. And so I'm out in the foyer area as they're tabulating and all that. And I didn't even go in to check, like as if there was a 1% chance I was getting in the playoffs. But luckily, I didn't leave because at some point I heard them say that the low was a 10-5 plus 38, and I had a plus 50 something. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm
So you
in.
weren't even the last one in. Wow, goodness.
Exactly. I
Alright.
think I was second from the bottom. And my first opponent was Scott Early. Not ideal. Our numbers aren't too lopsided, but he gives me fits, and I'd rather face him deeper into the bracket than right away. But I ended up winning that one 2-0. My best match of the weekend, and spoiler alert, I qualified 3 times, and this was my best match of the weekend, and it was in the 5-8 round of the Friday Consi with Lori Schmitz. And that was an extremely tactical match. I was using stuff out of my playbook that I seldom use, like just everything was getting thrown out, and it was just an epic fight to the final finish, and I ended up taking that 2-1. And I'll also say this: typically, I don't like it when people from my opponent's club are coming around on my side of the table to see what's going on, or friends of friends, or family members of family members. Typically, I don't like that. But the Virginia club, it's just a different story. Keith Bryant was watching for a while, Jack Hauser, people that I trust immensely. And it just kind of made it fun. And where it was an intense match, it just seemed like everybody was into it, which made it more fun. And we'll get into more about the match because there's another hand from it later on in the analysis. But that was by far the best. Then I beat another guy named Paul McClanahan. I can't remember if it was 2-0 or 2-1, but it felt like every game was within the last 10 holes, just extremely close. Finally, I had Joy Barnes in the final. I won that one 2-0. Um, and a very unexpected win based on how the weekend was going, based on my mood when I turned in my scorecard. It just, never give up and keep just try to be an optimist as much as you can, because you never know how the rest of the day is going to go. You
Well,
don't.
that's awesome. So that's win number
19.
18? 19,
19.
okay.
Yeah.
And what do you say? You're like 19-3 in tournament finals now?
19-4. Luckily, Jason
19-4.
Hoffbauer wasn't anywhere near South Carolina, so I
Okay, alright,
I
yeah.
didn't get 2 finals losses.
Maybe he'll move to Georgia and then put your 2, like, nemesis, like, together there, right?
Oh, jeez.
Apparently, that's your biggest issue is you're just allergic to Georgia. Well, congrats, man. I'm super happy for you. Those runs are always a lot of fun, and I'm with you. When you have playoff matches and when it's with the right opponent and there are people around watching who are into it, it's like there isn't arena cribbage. You know what I mean? Like, it's very weird with these tournaments where I feel like most of them, they come to almost like a thud, right? In the room at the start of the day, there's all these people. And then as the playoffs go on, there's like fewer and fewer people in the room. And like, I don't know, like I've won events. Like when I won the Grand National that I won, there were like 10 people in the room total. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
everybody had bailed, everybody this and that. And then it was like, all right, this is cool, like, but it's not like other events, other sports, other whatever it is, where it's like the World Series of Poker, right? Where there's like an arena at the end almost and like crowds cheering and things like that. But it's neat when people get into it. It's interesting. I want to put a pin in this element of this that you mentioned, the people watching stuff. I wonder, like somebody has had to have done it where people will like signal things or this. I'm not suggesting anybody from that group would do that or anybody I know that would do that, but I'm sure it's happened, right? Like
Yeah,
I'm
there was a situation in a different playoff where I did get uncomfortable, and not one time have I ever told anyone to move, back to the other side. But I was cognizant of where they were, and I just kind of looked back a couple of times, and but not saying anything happened or they would have done something. But it is something that typically, I try to be cognizant of.
I had somebody once. It was the first time I ever made any kind of a run in Reno, and consolation's going on and this and that. The guy I'm playing has like a buddy of his sit down at the table next to him. And to me, that was a little weird. Like the guy actually like sitting down and just he's like making comments during the match and stuff like that. At some point, the guy flips a crib flush, and the guy goes, "That the not the guy I'm playing goes, ooh, diamonds," and I go, hey, come on,
Yeah,
like
you,
what are we doing here? Like, but never anything at actual like I don't think there's anything nefarious, but I'm sure somebody has. That's why like go back to the Delenn book. I feel like I reference this book at least twice on every episode. Talks about doing things like protecting your hand and making sure that when you're holding cards, right? That and I can attack cards here. I can kind of show it. This is where I draw for the YouTube audience, right? Like so when you have a hand, right? And however many cards this is, let me get 6 of them, right? After you pitch the ones that you have, say I'm just throwing these 2, I'll a lot of times take my cards, and this is tricky to show this, but I'll just stack them up in my hand so that it's only like one single thing. So one, if the cards are potentially marked, nobody can see it other than the one. But also that it's if there are people hanging out behind, they're not really getting like a full view of everything that's happening. So I don't know. It's something I stumbled into like through years of like playing poker and things like that. And it's like just because somebody is, you know, like I don't want to find out the hard way that somebody is a cheater.
yeah, it's a good habit to get into for
Yeah,
sure.
just best practices, stuff like that. So anyway, okay, so you took down the trophy in the con,
Yeah, and then on
and
Saturday, I get off to
mhm.
a good start, and I'll pull my card up right now. And then I lose 5 in a row, starting with game 11. And look at the loss in that game. Keith Miller nearly double
Ooh,
skunked me.
58. Yeah, that's
I I was in the 60 hole while he was in the 120 hole. So I was either going to peg around or he was going to get me. And
wow, goodness.
luckily I got there. And then we went to lunch and I just had this skid. And at that point, I've got 7 wins, my allotted 8 losses, and I had to go. What was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I had to win 6 out of 7 with a skunk, which is what happened. But what's interesting about this is in game 16, I'm playing Voldemort. And I think that, I'm already thinking, okay, I'm in the toilet. This day's done, whatever. We get on to 4th Street. I'm 25 out, pwn. He's dealing from ahead of me. It was handily just kicking my ass all game. He's probably 16 or 17 out, something like that. I pick up 2 sevens, 2 eights.
Ooh,
Yeah, and I discarded whatever the leftovers were. We cut a 6, and he was pretty bummed. And I don't remember what I said, if anything. I don't want to be on the wrong end of that, and I wouldn't feel good. So and I think I told him something to the effect of I wasn't really rooting for it. The game meant more to you than it did me, that type of thing. Or maybe I said that several minutes after, but it sparked the run, and then I got that extra skunk. We'll talk about my dead hole loss here in game. What was that? Game 21. That hand is in the analysis later on against Michael Burnham, but I ended up getting in, and the crazy thing was 16 qualifiers, 14, 15, and 16th. I was 14th in there. We were all separated by 5 spread points.
right. And
That's just
if I'm not mistaken, 16th was Voldemort,
it was,
and
and he kept telling me, "You better not have cost me," and I'm like, "I'm in," and so doesn't the game meant something now, and I'm always going to play 100% no matter what, but yeah, but anyway, so I ended up into the playoffs. I was paired up against Jamie Fincher in the first round, and Jamie, by the way, never even touched a cribbage board until 2021. Just extremely
wow.
new,
Okay.
quickly into the tournament scene. I think as early as 2023, maybe even earlier. I'm not sure. And she's made some strides, but I kind of felt like I had the edge just based on experience, more seat time, and I kind of stole game 1 and was never close to winning another game after that. So the Georgia curse was like on for and she ended up playing Keith Widener, and I can't remember what the score was, but Keith ended up moving on in that one. So I was out fast, but
And what is it? Terry Weber was high qualifier. And this is one of these, it's like my key example when I present this to the board, and that forever now, I have always hated it that the higher seed doesn't get any advantage in the playoffs. And right, a field like this, exactly 16 playoff spots. Terry Weber, high qualifier with I think he had a 39 or something like
he
that.
did. Yeah.
And what's his reward for the 39 card? Playing Voldemort in the first round. Now, he did win that match and he won the tournament.
He did.
Super happy for Terry. Congrats to him. But I feel like that is, if I was looking for an example of why there should be some sort of advantage for higher seeds, I mean, I couldn't have cherry picked a better one there, right? You go through the whole day, your high qualifier, there just happens to be no buys whatsoever. And then who do you have sitting waiting for you at the table like it's the Reaper? Like
But
Medeiros,
yeah.
like Voldemort, like it's that is to me the picture of why I think it should just be, just give the higher seed the deck. That's it. So didn't mean to. All right, don't want to don't overtake. Just had to put in my 2 cents on when I saw that element of it. So Terry wins the main, and then you got the con the next. I guess after you managed to sneak into the con, so try to get your money's worth out of this thing, and the con went okay too. Correct, right?
It did, but it was stressful because I lost my first two games 1 and 2, and then just upside down again to start, and went on a nice little run again. I had a skunk in there. Somebody else beat me. I didn't put that card into the overlay there, but yeah, I ended up getting in a 13 plus 111. Here's the painful thing about that. Barry Garand had a plus 13 plus 113 and just edged me in the 50 pool, and was one spot above me in the rest of them. So painful there. And I actually went pretty deep. Who did I have right away? I faced Paul McClanahan again, who, by the way, he's a Columbia guy, mid 80s, solid player from what I could tell.
Okay.
And it was my second match against him. That one was also 2-1, and I feel like I stole a game in there and really had no business moving on. And then I faced Paul Barnes in the 3-4 round, and he ended up knocking me out. And as soon as he did, he was yelling over to Joy. He goes, "Honey, I got revenge! I got revenge, honey!" I was like,
That's
it was
right.
like,
Barnes's right. Got to put them up there for when you talk about the highest combined scores of like couples. I mean, got to at least
yeah.
mention them in that crew with like the Shays and like Mary and Dave amongst others. I'm sure there are people I'm forgetting, so my apologies. But yeah, and he went on to take it, I think, over Barry, if I'm not mistaken.
He did, yeah. And I'm playing Paul, and Barry's playing right next to me. I'm like, great. If I win this one, I know what's going to happen. And but anyway, but Paul was just the one who couldn't be stopped. And in my second game against Paul, I was up by a street and I pissed it away. And it was one of those where I felt it coming type things. I was pwned from like 25 out, and then I dealt, had my crib, and then I was pwned again and still couldn't get out. It was just one of those brutal slides. And I did the Cushman maneuver once, and then I have a backup shuffle that's a little bit different from my normal one, but nothing was working. And I'm like you, I'm not a change to the deck guy. That's the one we chose, so I just kind of wrote it out. Yeah, and then finally on Saturday, Jacob French asked if I would team with him in Canadian. I checked all the people that I hung out with were going to be playing Canadian, so I'm like, well, may as well. And it's the third time we've teamed, and we got absolutely destroyed the other two times, like out of sync, just not giving each other the right hands and getting destroyed in the pegging for it. And but the third time was the charm. We won 7 out of 9, 2 skunks, I think, and ended up winning it. There was one cool hand, and might have been what won it for us, because we would, if we tied Jamie Fincher and Jim Huron, we would have lost on spread. So there was one critical game where our opponents were 30, let's see, let me get it right, in the 90 hole. So one
Mhm.
behind the line. They were going to count first, and we were 10 points, so we were 111. And and I was the dealer, I think. Yeah, I had to have been. And so I was arranging the hands, and I kept 5, 6, 9 jack, all clubs. So it's 2 points short, but I felt like it was a nice enough mix of cards. And then I gave Jacob basically a 19 hand, so he would have a nice mix of cards. We outpegged them 10-0 and got the skunk.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the stuff that I never could do before. So just because I just didn't have the patience for that game, but that's what won it for us. And Jacob and I, they had a nice little trophy. You can't really see him too good in there, but yeah, so that was fun. And then finally, I had my long match with Daryl Desjardins, and we were resuming it with tentatively just 4 games to go, and we were tied at the start. And Daryl is, another one of those opponents where I don't know how many games he's played in his lifetime, but I've been in the ACC longer, lots of seat time, especially against advanced people. And I felt like in a long match format, theoretically, I would have an edge, but it, the whole match was stressful from start to finish. We weren't really, neither one of us were really winning 2 games in a row a lot. So, he would pull ahead, I would tie it, and lots of stressful, lots of stressful games. And then with 4 to go, one of us had to win 3 out of 4. If we were going to end it without going into overtime, he wins the first one. So I'm like, oh, here we go. And, but then finally I got hot, and I rattled off 3 in a row to take it. And really tough match. And lots of close games, like I said, lots of high stress games. So despite not winning, he gave me hell. And then, as fate would have it, I have his sister in the next round, Denise, and we played a bunch of games, I think 9 of them. She's killing me. The score's like 18-10, so with 11 games to go. And so we'll see. That's a big gap. I think I need to win 7 out of 11 just to not lose it in 20, and then it would go into overtime. So so we'll see how
So
that goes. But
I gotta cut you off. I gotta know more about these like long matches because I know they've done them in the Northeast. Is this a
Mhm.
special like Southeast thing? Like, what's the is that through some other thing? Like, what's the qualification? Because you know, like selfishly, I'll be anytime I can sign up for long match stuff. I love them, but there's so few that I get to do.
So yeah, so the Northeast started it, and I think every region has had them on and off throughout the years. The Southeast, as far as I can tell, have never had it. So this is the first time. There's 16 players. The matches are really supposed to be played in person, and I think we started it basically in August, and each round is given like 3 months. So if you're at like a tournament with them, you could knock it out throughout the weekend, play 7 or 8 games at a time. And yeah, and so we've tried it for the first time, and got a nice field of players. The big like popcorn match in the first round would have been Scott Early versus Keith Widener, and
Ooh,
Keith ended up getting him. Yeah.
wow, yeah, that's a quality match. Both players that I have a lot of respect for their
Yeah.
games. So
And then
I
lastly, Denise's birthday was over the weekend, and oops, I don't know why it's going to the full screen, but that's fine.
I'll take it.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so her brother and her husband went all out and had this big banner. That's a huge banner, by the way. I'm
Yeah,
guessing
we
it's
need
at
like
least
scale. I guess I kind of see the head of the
y-
people within the shot, so I can kind of get an idea.
yeah, it's
That's
at least
pretty sizable for.
5 or 6 inches wide. And Denise loves frogs, and they had a frog mascot come in at the same time that the cake came in. So
Hey,
yeah, so they went all out, and I don't know, seems like they had fun. We actually went out to dinner with them to a Mexican place, and I got the safe fajitas, you know.
Alright,
That,
that's fine. Like, you don't have to go
yeah,
crazy at a Tex-Mex place getting, like, moles or whatever it is, like, but, yeah, fajitas are good. No hate on
yeah.
that.
Yeah, and I'd also like to say, you talked about we were talking about couples earlier in cribbage, but Denise and Daryl as siblings, I don't know of a tighter sibling pairing in the ACC right now, and perhaps there is one, but they're you know you, they have a very close relationship, and it's cool that they have cribbage in common and get to do these things.
That's awesome. Yeah, the very kind people and frequent contributors to the show. So 29ers, right? Dale kind of gave that idea to us, and we're kind of rolling with it. So yeah, that wonderful, wonderful people. Always happy for them. Happy birthday, Denise. What is that? Scorpio? I don't know what the sign is on end of October, early November off the top of my head.
I
Like
think it is
Libra or
Scorpio.
something. I don't know. Yeah, that's thrown on those. I have a few token lines about astrology stuff, but probably not for have to up the rating on this program if I make some of those dirty jokes. But okay.
Okay.
All right. So well, glad the tournament went well. I was definitely having some FOMO over missing it. Maybe I'll make it to the next one, like sneak out there. I'm kind of excited because I was thinking about it today, and that January is my like cribbage like heavy season, I call it, because there's the Fort Walton Beach tournament in like the middle of January, and then the Phoenix one used to be like on back-to-back weekends. Now I think it's like the other weekend, so I get to play like two tournaments in 3 weekends.
Oh,
And
nice.
so it's like right around the corner. It gives me a reason to get through the like stupid holiday season. So I'm excited. All right. Well, good, good. I gotta start thinking about long match stuff. We gotta, like I remember during the pandemic, was it Terry Murdy like ran through during a few things online. I wonder if there's something we can do with the show like that. I know we kind of did the fight night thing. Maybe there's a way that it could be a little more extended and kind of a long match thing. So remind for those that don't know, because I've heard it before, but I don't remember what the like scoring is, but what's the parameters for either? I assume you're doing it the same way that the Northeast does it in terms of points.
I'm pretty sure we do it that way, but there's probably a little bit of variance in some of the other regions, but it's actually 3 points for a win, 4 for a skunk. So you
So
only
you
get
reduce the importance of the skunk just by a little bit. Okay, I'm fine with that.
yeah. That 1 point though becomes critical as you get closer to overtime because the other thing is you have to win by 6. So it can be a little problematic for one of the opponents, so
I mean,
if
it
you've got
definitely comes into play, but making it like one
yeah.
point, whatever that is, like 1.3 instead of 1.5 as the multiplier is of note. But so you got to
Yeah.
win by 6, and is it to 31? What do you have to get to?
So the way Megan did it, which is different from the Northeast, the first round is 16 games, and then it increases by 4 games each round thereafter, and it goes 4 rounds. So I guess it must end at what 26
Something I
or maybe
Well, you said
28.
minimum 16, I guess you'd say, but it can go further. So
Yeah, well, actually, you can clinch it conceivably in game 14 or 15 if it's a blowout.
okay.
So
Okay.
yeah.
And what does the Northeast do on those? I think that one's to like I've seen like the spiral notebook of people like scratching off the scores and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a challenge bracket for it, and I think theirs has like 32 people. And the last time I did it, which was, excuse me, quite a while ago before the pandemic, um, e- I think just about every round except for the finals was 26 games, so it was lengthier. But New England is a tighter region geographically, so you could
Sure.
drive an hour and a half and meet up at like a Dunkin' Donuts if you wanted to, and knock half of it out or more. One year I had Mark Soul, and he actually ended up beating me. We went to game 35, so 9 games
Phew.
into overtime. Yeah, so that was just a half-hour drive for me, but yeah, but it's fun, and and we could certainly look at doing an online version, preferably Cribbage Pro, but and we could name it the competitive cribbage, long match or
Long
whatever. And
match,
so,
yeah.
yeah,
We gotta make some stupid acronym that, like, makes it, like, spell out something, make it spell out, like, idiot or something or whatever it is, but we'll toy around with that.
yeah.
Cribbagepodcast@gmail.com if you have ideas for that. Hey, if somebody wants to
Actually, oh,
run
I'm
it
sorry.
or go ahead, Terry.
I did one more epic story I got to tell you.
Yeah, let's do it.
So initially I was rooming with Mike Dew, and he's one of my fairly regular roommates. Another one is Thomas K, and he's from the kind of a little south of DC. I forget who else is in this club. It's definitely north of Richmond though, and he was tentatively going to be rooming with us. So I asked him. I said, "Hey, when are you getting here?" He goes, "I'll be there about 5 a.m. on Friday morning." I'm like, "5 a.m. You got a long ass drive." He goes, "Well, I have to play grassroots." So I'm like, "All right." I said, "I'll. Why don't we just use my air mattress? I'll blow it up, and you can just crash on it when you get here, and I'll put a hotel key in the gas cap of my vehicle, and that way he can get it and not have to worry about the desk or anything." And it's like, we're in room 103. And so the night passes, my alarm goes off at like 6:45. I wake up and I see the air mattress still leaning against the wall. Mike Dew is waking up and he goes, "Where is he? He never got here." And then I get a text message from Thomas, and I'm like, he says, "What hotel are you at?" And I was like, "Oh
Oh,
crap.
no.
I forgot to tell him we're at a different hotel." So
He's
he
banging on the
he went to
103 and the other door. Oh, no.
he went to 103. I'm not gonna name who they are, but the husband doesn't play, and I think he uses a wheelchair, and the wife was out of the room at breakfast. And so Tom's like knocking on the door, and the husband's like, "Go away," you know. And but Tom's persistent, and then the guy answers the door. He's not happy. He actually thought Tom was hotel maintenance or
Yeah,
something. So,
room service or yeah, housekeeping, I should say.
so Tom's getting an earful, and so he thought it was a different player than it was, but it wasn't. And I'll tell you off air, if you want. But
Ooh,
I,
all
I
right,
I
more for
didn't
the
get the
off-air
other
feed, people.
I didn't get the other people's permission. I'm assuming they probably would have been fine with it, but just in case, I won't mention who they were.
Look at you with the
But
journalistic integrity, Terry. Who are you? Like,
right, but so I find out whose room it really was, and I'm talking to the wife, and we're kind of laughing about it. Like, but she did say, "Yeah, that was kind of bad for my husband," and it took a while for me to show her who the perp was knocking on her door. And so they actually ended up playing doubles against each other, and Tom was right behind me. So I said to the person, I'm like, "Did you get any unexpected knocks at the door at 5 a.m.?" And she's like, "No, no, not really." And Tom looks over at her and he goes, "Oh, that's her." And finally, they all just finally had a huge laugh about it. But it's the most Cushman move ever to forget to tell him, which hotel we're really at.
oof. Well, yikes on that one. I'm glad it worked out okay. I'm glad it wasn't worse. I remember there was a tourney once where I got like hotel room like from the front desk, right? Give me the key, everything. I go like put the key in the room, go in, and there are people in there.
Yeah,
Like they somehow like issued me the same room as somebody else, and like I'm glad I didn't get shot or worse. And it's just like, oh God, what's going on? Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to the desk and figure out what's up with that. And yeah, no, it was everything ended up okay, but not luckily there wasn't anything like real rough going on. Like that could be real awkward. I get like videos from like flight attendants and stuff like that, the stuff they do when they go to like hotel rooms immediately, like every time. Because I guess this stuff happens from time to time, but
it
it's
does.
like okay, you check the room and all these things, and you lock the door in this particular way, and you do all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it sounds like a smart thing to do. I've kind of adopted some of those things. So
Yeah, you have the latch that you can use.
there's more, but off air showed stuff that they like
Okay.
tell you how to do. But okay. So, all right. So, we're running a little late here, and we got a few hands to get to. We're gonna run through the fantasy draft, and we'll knock this one out somewhat quick. Um, we've got a couple other ideas. I forgot, like Scott Early sent some ideas. We'll have to hit those ones, but especially if we have holiday season, I think we'll have some good topics. But I thought ballpark concessions is what we're going to go with this time, and I don't think that has to be food only. I think there can be like souvenirs or whatever it is.
Oh,
Just like I don't know, like we can limit it to food if you want. Like,
mine's all food, but if I
all
think
right,
of
yeah,
something,
well,
I could switch it out.
we'll stick with food because I feel like souvenirs might be like a good one for a future thing. So, all right. Well, once
Okay.
again, I have yet to find the like the nickel of fate.
Okay.
So I'm gonna let you. You got one again.
Oh yeah, I
All right,
got
all
the.
right. So I've lost like 9 in a row or something like that. It's ridiculous, but I'm gonna change up my strategy this time and I'm gonna call tails.
Okay, here we go. I tried to fling it higher this time. All right, we're both gonna find out what it is together. Here we go.
Oh,
Oh, it is tails.
hey, look at that.
Doing it
All right.
backwards. It's definitely tails.
Um, okay, then I'm gonna elect to receive here because to me, I think there is one ballpark concession that I think like stands above all for at least me. And this might be like silly or but I feel like that's a big part of like sporting events, right? When you go to events, whatever it is. And to me, it is the soft serve in the helmet, right? The ice cream, the soft serve, the whatever it is in the little like mini batting helmet.
Hmm.
Like to me, that's like if I'm going to the ballpark and there is one item to get, I think it's that one. You get a little built-in souvenir along with it. Like to me, that is the clear one. And like I'm from the South, right? Like I'm not going to baseball games when it's 40 degrees outside. It's usually pretty hot. So nice little thing of ice cream, and not to mention most of the ball games I went to were, well, they were like minor league ones, but they were when I was a kid. Um, so yeah, ice cream and nothing better. So I'm gonna go with the ice cream in the just in general, but ice cream in the helmet is what I'm going with.
Can't go wrong with ice cream.
Right,
You
right.
know.
There's nothing like bad about that. Especially so I don't know about you, but like I'm a big fan of soft serve is better than like regular ice cream, just like texturally. Right? Like the last thing I want is I don't know if you have like the teeth sensitivity thing, but it's like trying to bite into actual like cold things. Like trying
Mhm.
to bite a popsicle. Oh, I would like keel over and die.
I mean, I like Ben and Jerry's, so that's not typically soft, but I can
I like Ben and
appreciate both.
Jerry's too. I like Ben and
Yeah,
Jerry's too. I'm with you there.
yeah. All right, so I get to go twice, and I didn't get
Do.
sniped on my top pick. So, I've mentioned this on another food one, but it's the absolute best, and my mouth is watering right now, literally, just thinking about it. Like if I'm at a ballpark, and that is fried sausage with onions and peppers.
Okay.
And usually they're decent size and much bigger than the hot dogs. So that's my number one. And then number two, I'm trying to be strategic here.
But before you give me your number 2 here, do you
Yeah.
put anything on that or is it just as is? Do you put mustard on it or like mayo or any kind of sauce or is it just the peppers and onions, any jalapenos or anything is, like or is it just they give it to you, you eat it?
I would get jalapenos if it's an option. I haven't seen that yet, at least at Fenway, but yeah, just onions and peppers. I mean, I wouldn't mind mustard on it, but I think it's just less messier without it. And
Okay.
yeah, and mayonnaise is like disgusting. I don't want that. That's the one thing I can't have.
On the
Um,
whole or like just on anything? Like are you just an
so
anti-mayo guy?
I don't mind it if it's in like a potato salad or a macaroni salad type thing, or tuna salad even, but that's about it. And it's super light in that case.
I hot take, it's the best for French fries. Like I
Oh
am a
no,
mayonnaise
no.
on French fries is like the tip top. I mean it's eggs and oil, Terry. Like that's what mayonnaise is. Like don't get it twisted. Like there's
If I
no
want
no
oil, I'll just have vinegar put on it or whatever.
all
That's
right, fair enough.
yeah.
Okay, all right. Didn't mean to interrupt. All right, so you got your
No.
second with your second pick. Go on. You trying to be strategery about this. So
Yeah, I'm gonna go with nachos and cheese for that
Mhm.
one. Um, I don't know. I'm just a big fan. I love nachos in general. Like Sam will make pulled pork nachos. Not that that's ballpark stuff, but
Nowadays, like I feel like ballparks have kind of upscaled their food a little bit. Like gone are the days of you get like a rotten hot dog and like stale popcorn and that's about
yeah,
it. But I think that's a fine pick. Also, optionally to be able to get that in a big batting helmet. So anytime you sneak in a little souvenir, I feel like that's like a win at one of those things. So
true.
just a cheese, by the way, or you want like all the stuffs?
Generally just cheese. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I don't mind that. All right. I did zero prep for this one because I feel like I thought I was going to be able to just pull these off the top of my head, and I guess it's a little more difficult than I thought. But trying to think if there's anything that just stands out to me as like, you know what, at a ball game, like I have to have this. Um, so for the first pick, I am gonna just stay traditional in this one, and I think a hot dog is just right. Like there's something about at a ball game, the hot dog. Like I remember, do you know who Alton Brown is?
I feel like I should.
So he's
Trying
a
to find-
Food Network guy. He's almost like if you combine like a Mr. Wizard with like Food Network stuff. And when I worked at XM Radio and I worked on the baseball channel for a period of time, and we had him on the show. He's like a big time guy. Like he's, his show is called Good Eats on the Food Network. It was super entertaining. I really one of my favorite things to watch. It's funny, it's entertaining. It gives you the science behind like certain food things. And we asked him about hot dogs at ball games, and his theory was that because it's in that like wrapper, that like aluminum or whatever it is, right? That they're in that like drawer, like something about that makes it better. Now it might just be like an emotional thing too, right? Like just you're outside, you're at this like thing you're enjoying, the food just tastes better. But yeah, I just think a hot dog at a ball game is the way to go. By the way, for the record, I am team mustard and potentially onions on a hot dog. Like don't bring ketchup anywhere near a hot dog. In fact, I'm team anti-ketchup, period.
I don't like
Um,
it either.
yeah, ketchup belongs on like bad French fries, and that's it. And that's if there's no other like condiment available. Like I think there are very, very few things that I think ketchup makes better at all. So anyway, so what about you? Like, are you mustard on a hot dog guy?
Mustard is what I have, and occasionally relish as well.
Okay, I don't love relish on it. I don't like the sweet on like a hot dog all that much. Maybe if it was like a savory relish kind of thing. But anyway, so and I think for my next pick, and I'm trying not to go like too niche on this one because again, right, there's all these ballparks now where they have all these like crazy Franken foods and whatever it is. Like I think at the Rangers they have like a 3 foot long like hot dog or something like that, and all these other places have like very very fancy or interesting things. This is a way they can justify getting like $35 out of you. But I think I'm just go with peanuts. Right? And I just like that you can get a nice big bag of peanuts and just shell them and just toss them around and like super salty, right? Just have a nice drink with it, whether it's a beer or a soda or whatever it is. But I think just and the act of doing that, like cracking peanuts at a baseball game and like keeping score in the outdoors, there's something magical and special about that in my mind.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I love all forms of peanuts, pistachios, all that. Not that you can get some of them at a game, but
Yeah, yeah. One of these days I'll go to a fancy enough like baseball game and they'll be like, "Get your pistachios, get your Brazil nuts, whatever it is, macadamia nuts."
yeah,
Yeah,
almonds
peanuts.
are I love.
Yeah, almonds are great. Almonds are, but honestly, my favorite of all the actual like nuts that are out there. So, all
Okay.
right, so you got two more here while I quickly like Google search to see what else I'm forgetting.
Yeah, so my next one is something that I used to have a lot at racetracks, and but a lot of ballparks do have it, and that's fried dough. And there's just something about it, especially if it's just straight out of the deep fryer. And yeah, so that's number 3 on my list. And then very simply, you kind of did mention it, buttered popcorn.
Okay, All right, I have questions about the fried dough, because there's a fried dough item that I've had before, more at fairs than I have at other things, but like they call it funnel cake. Is that what you're talking about, or is
I
that
don't
something different?
I
Like, so
don't
funnel
know.
cake is like it's almost has like a pattern to it because it is essentially like fried dough with like some powdered sugar on top. Like I'm trying to get like a
Yes.
okay. All right.
That
Then yes, I can 100% co-sign on that one. I think funnel cakes are fantastic. Yeah, yeah. Fried. In fact, looking at just the pictures of it is making me quite hungry as we speak. So,
yeah.
um, okay. And then you mentioned the buttered popcorn. Yeah, it's great, right? Like, although I admit I am not a snob because I love movie theater popcorn, and I feel like movie theater popcorn is like exponentially better than the ones at the ballpark. But honestly, my favorite popcorn is the one you make at home because I don't know if you've ever done this, but like I don't buy the bags of popcorn. Like I buy the kernels and like pop it on the stove myself. And I feel like it is 10 times better than the
Okay.
stuff that you when you buy just a little bag and throw it in the microwave. Like it's not that much work. I feel like it's pretty easy. Like I really, really um like think that is much better. So
Okay.
all right, let me look through and see if there's anything here that I am forgetting as I hit for this last one here. Gosh. Yeah, I don't know. You know what? I am just gonna go like pretty standard on this one, and let me make it clear. So, one of my no-goes in life is the people that have highly, highly sensitive palates. Now you pass enough, you're fine, Terry, but also you and I aren't like living together, or dating, or anything like that, right? I don't think I could live with someone who has one of those like childlike palates, right? I remember once I went on like a date when I was like single with somebody, and I figured out that they were the type of person that just, were like food averse, and they were just gonna, live on like I don't know, like cheese sticks and like whatever it is. And it was kind of like, okay, this is not the person for me. No shame on that person, but it's just not for me. But a good chicken tendy, I will not shake a stick at. And I think that's the last one on my list. It's just like a basket of like chicken tenders and fries. A little honey mustard. Just makes that one thumbs up. Okay. All right, so we'll run through these really quick here. So I have ice cream, preferably in like a little batting helmet, hot dogs, peanuts, and chicken tendies. Terry has the sausage, peppers, and onions, kind of sub, or if you will, nachos, fried dough, and buttered popcorn. Give us your favorite things. Cribbage podcast at gmail.com. And as we jump to the hands for today, make sure I actually do this right.
Did we do the mailbag?
Oh, the mailbag. Yes. We will skip that really quick here. Good call, Terry. I'm having one of those days. You ever have one of those where it's just things aren't firing right? Like I'm trying to it's like, did I accidentally pour myself like decaf today or like what exactly happened? Um, but yeah, it's like up is down, down is up when you are like directing the show, like and telling me the things we're forgetting. What's going on? Like cats and dogs living together, as Bill Murray once said. All right. Let me see. Denise did check in and said, and she passed along a couple of Halloween photos. I'm going to see if I can screen share and do this here, but said, hey guys, a couple of Halloween photos. She got a couple with her and Daryl, and the other with her, with Mike, who I believe is her husband, boyfriend. And never speculate
Husband,
on
yeah.
people's husband. Okay. I
Yeah.
try again, like try to be
Yeah.
equitable for everyone. So let me do the little screen share here on this one. And I have to swap it really quick here so that I can show like this one. There we go. She passed on a couple. So there are clowns there. And she said Daryl was not thrilled about some of those, or Mike was. There's them as looks like a kind of an interview with the vampire thing. And there's her with Mike, who I think kind of looks like Ben Roethlisberger. I don't know, just like but I've seen him around before. I feel like I get that like look from that. But it says the Grease, I guess. Are you a Grease guy?
Not really. I know it was a pop cultural, phenomenon in the 80s, but
Yeah, not my thing. Although the theme to Grease like the actual like Frankie Valli, like Grease is the word. It's kind of a banger. Like that song just kind of really catchy. Like I like
Okay.
that song. But yeah, thank you for passing those along. And let me see what else we have here. Monica Newton checks in, says, "One year I went to work and I wore a white sweatshirt and took tons of decks of cards and put different 24 hands all over it with a 29 hand right across my heart. Thank goodness it was a grassroots day because I spent the entire day explaining what I was. I was dressed as a lucky lady. When I got to grassroots, everyone knew what it was and I got a laugh." So yeah, that's one of those things. Trying to like explain cribbage stuff to non-cribbagers is a bit of a challenge. Like I know at old workplaces, like "Oh, the dumbest of jokes. Oh, Jason, you play Quidditch?" It's like, no, I do not play Quidditch. I don't run around on brooms. I don't even like Harry Potter. But I feel like that's neat. Have you ever seen any like silly like cribbage costumes or anything like that?
Well,
Somebody
five of
jokes.
them wore a shirt that all had a card that, and when you put all five of them together, it was a 29 hand.
Okay,
And
I like that. That's a cute idea.
Daryl and Denise were part of that. Jamie Fincher was. I don't. There was two more. I forget the whole group, but yeah, there was some stuff. There was another guy who actually works at Disney who was dressed up like an Oompa Loompa, and I didn't know because I'm not a Willy Wonka guy. I think I saw the movie once in the first grade, and it just wasn't for me. But that was his costume, and yeah, so there was some stuff floating around.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like that's one of those. It's again, Willy Wonka is one of those things. It's like actually a really adult movie and like a kind of scary adult concepts, but it's packaged as a child's movie because I guess it's kind of fantasy and these other elements are in it. Because somebody was telling me once they like read it and the actual book, and the book has a lot more like info about that, and there's a lot more symbolism of like I guess kind of dirty things going on there. And nothing like inappropriate that I'm aware of, but I know Roald Dahl is kind of a whacked out guy who's like the writer of those things. I don't know. That's one of those movies I don't even know if I've seen it all the way through, but I think I've seen the entire movie in pieces.
Okay,
But yeah, it's a weird one. So okay, let me see what else. We've got one with like a hand question here, but it doesn't work for like showing it. It's like an in-game thing. You want to talk about that
sure.
really quick here? Okay, so this comes from Jacob Zanicola, who says, "Thanks for acknowledging my earlier email." Let me go into this hand here. So you are both in hole 120, right? That the whole situation when that happens, I feel like the whole room wants to go like, "Ooh," when that happens. And you are first count, so you are pwned, right? You lose this game. I don't know. What do you think? How many times do you think you win as non-dealer, right? When you're both in 120, 1 out of 5, 1 out of 4, something like that.
I was gonna say 1 out of 3, but I could be wrong.
Okay, one day I'd like to like do that. Just sit down, whether it's you or Voldemort or somebody else, right? Sit down and like play like 100 hands in that spot. Just see what happens,
Okay,
right?
yeah, that's
Just
interesting.
see how many times you can like pull that one off. Okay, so you are dealt what I'd say is a decent hand for this spot. Um, Ace 2 3 6 9 Jack. So what do you hold and what do you lead is my question on this one because and I think I have a pretty good feel about this one, but again, give you a little space on this one. Is there a way that you think this should be held, and what do you lead?
I would probably hold deuce, 6 9 jack, and lead the deuce,
Okay.
hoping that they'll play a 7 or perhaps a 9 on it, which is a very common response at any point in the game, really. And then I'd keep the jack just in case. They ended up having to keep a face card, but that's how I would do it. I mean, if somebody would prefer the ace instead of the 2 and then 6 9 jack, That's how I would do it. But I'm gonna lead a low
Okay.
card there, obviously.
Yeah, I agree about leading the low card, but and part of this will depend on who I'm playing. But I think I disagree in that the two cards I am 100% keeping in my hand here are the 3 and the 6, because I wanna lead the 3, and I feel is decent chance my opponent's gonna play the 6 on it if they don't pair it, right? And so it's
Uh,
kind of working from that on that. So I feel like I want the 3, the 6, probably the 2, right? Just makes sense, right? You're gonna get some face cards coming back on that, and then I would say and either the 9 or the jack is close there. I don't think my opponent's gonna keep both of them, right? Like, if they have the 6 and the 9, so I'm probably holding 2, 3, 6 jack in that spot.
a good player would probably play the 6 on the 3. I do it often. Um, but I just feel like there's a with the 3, uh, if they don't have the 6, I feel like I'm probably not gonna score on the next play.
Okay.
Just
I mean,
guessing. That's why I
I think
prefer
it's
the
highly
1.
plausible they play a face card on the 3. Right, it's maybe it's more predictable. Like, maybe the hold's 3, 6, 9 jack or something like that, but I kinda want 2 little cards in there, like, with your hold, like, 2, 6, 9 jack. I feel like if I don't score on that first card, right, if you play the 2, if they play anything that does not get you out there, then I think you're gonna lose because you only have the 1 little card, right? Seems improbable that you're gonna get a go, right? Say you play the 2 and they play an 8 on it there, then I think you kinda have to come back with the jack, which is 20, and then you don't really have, like, any kind of a small card to potentially get your go. Like, if I'm 2 out, maybe there's more of a case for that one, but I think I wanna leave myself a little space to try to sneak in a go there.
True. And honestly, I'm more fixated typically on pairing something or getting a 15 or a 31. So,
Mhm.
so I guess that is a fair point.
Okay, and I'll admit that, like, I feel like spots like these are where I tend to lean to, right, the people I think are really, really sharp players, Voldemort and, like, Eric Locke and, anybody else who I have the good fortune to be able to, ping these things off of. But I feel like that's an interesting one. Love to hear, everybody's opinion and their logic behind that on the mailbag there, so just to recap for that one, both at 120, 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, Jack. Terry says hold 2, 6, 9, Jack. I say hold 2, 3, 6, Jack. Give us your thoughts on that one at cribbagepodcast@gmail.com. Let me see. I think I had one other. Oh, Canadian Jordan checked in. Actually, we got two more. A long form email. You know what? I'm not going to do that one this week. I'm going to put a pin in this one because I want to give it due time. But a new emailer. So Mike Schumacher, who reached out. We will touch on that one next week. So thank you for your feedback. Also from Canadian Jordan reached out and said, "Hey gents, it's been a few weeks since I checked in. He's been moving around. I guess he moved. Moving sucks, by the way. Like, if I can help it, I will never have to move again for the rest of my life. Like, moving is just the most like traumatizing, miserable experience. Like, I don't know if you own the place you're in or if you're renting, but I hate the thought of just trying to put everything together and get it all. It's the amount of time I feel like it takes is just miserable for me.
Yeah, we own the house, but I am kind of getting the itch to get our forever house. And Sam, I think, is finally starting to warm up to it. But Jordan actually just bought a condo, so I think in this case, it's probably an exciting thing.
Yes, happy for him with that. I said a brief Grand National trip report didn't qualify in the two mains and consolation that I played. The midweek main, I was treading water all day and ended up with a 26-12. Grand National main, I started scorching hot, going 9-2 in the morning with 20 points, and my mind started getting ahead of myself to the playoffs. Then the afternoon happened, and I went 3-8, finishing with 26-12.
Oh,
Match midweek main. Oh, I hate that. I had two chances to get to 28 on games 21 and 22, but struck out. That's miserable. Like, when you can feel like you have that great day at lunch, you just want to keep going, and then you lose a couple and you start to worry. You go, uh-oh. So yeah, I feel your pain on that one. Said, licked my wounds and headed back to the Sunday Consi. Scored a 12-6 with a +2 spread. My last two wins were by 1 point. Headed for lunch, knowing it was on the cut line as I was walking down the hall. Bob Jocelyn gave me the bad news that I was the bubble boy. Brian Gurdon outscored me by 1 point and ended up losing in the Consi finals. Like,
Oh,
that's brutal on that. So, and I've mentioned this before, but I still am wondering if the better way to do tournaments is, instead of the top 25%, to just have it be a flat number, right? Like, something seems wrong in a con when you score 12 and don't make it, because that's
oh,
the
I
line
see.
in grassroots, right? And so I wonder if it should just be all 12s get it. Doesn't matter if you're 12-4, right? Like, if you're 12-3, then we got to have another talk about it. But I feel like that's a but I wonder, like how different things would be with some of those elements. Same with like mains, right? Like should it just be like 27 you're in, 26 you're not? Just food for thought.
Would it dilute the payouts though, or no?
I mean, I think it would do both, right? There'd be some tournaments where more than 25% of the field would get in, and there'd be some that fewer, right? Because there are some, like we've all heard of stories in a 22 gamer where like a 26 will get in or something like that, right? And there'll be ones where it goes the other way, where no 27s make it, or no, I think I've heard a story once where like no 28s made it once. Talk about a bad beat. Like, I'd be, imagine getting
Yeah.
a 28 or even a 20. I think I've heard a 29's missing before. Imagine having a 29 and you don't make it. I'd be sick. Just sick. I missed by twice, like I missed once with a 13-6 in a con.
Wow.
And that one was one where I just kind of shrugged my shoulders. I did all I could, but it was like small field, so variance happens. But yeah, I almost wonder if like some of those things should be. So anyway, he said, feeling good about my play and know I'll go deep in a playoff soon. There were some good results. Jordan Hammond and I cashed in Canadian doubles on Friday night. By the way, two hilarious, like American Jordan and Canadian Jordan playing together in doubles is hilarious. And like AC and like or was it saying it wrong, AJ and CJ, is pretty hilarious. Like, why am I picturing American Jordan breaking out like the Hulk Hogan, like American flag gear or something like that, within that group? Let me see what else. And he says, and I finally got my first win versus the one who shall not be named. And that's always a good weekend when that happens. So it says now he's planning his next trip, Canadian Jordan. So thank you for reaching out, Jordan. Okay. All right. We are over an hour, so we're going to knock out these hands quickly here. I guess we've had a lot to say today. So let me get to the screen share. Let's make sure I do this right this time. Nope. I blew it. All right. I got to fix this 1 second here.
Oh,
Terry, you
shit.
got us here?
How do we let's see.
See if I can let me make a run at this while we try to buy some time. Sometimes we are knuckleheads with technology, folks. Like, not that this is a horrible view for those who are watching, and you get a little preview of the hands as Terry's trying to fix it here. But
Oh, it's
I think
this one. It's this
you
one.
got it. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that. All right.
Yeah.
So let's jump to the hands here. All right. So this one comes via Mike Kroom, although we'll have to bug David Hayes here. Again, I'll give a shout to his site. This is cribbage121.com. Where he sets this up, but it doesn't show the submitter on here. So this I know came from Mike Kroom. And so here's the hand. And again, I'll set this up for those who are not listening or watching us on YouTube here. So there is a flush in play here, but so the score is you are first count from hole 85. Your opponent is dealing in hole 75, and the hand is 2, 3, 4, 8, 10 queen. The flush would be 2, 3, 4 queen. So the 8 and the 10 are the non-flush cards. Terry, to me, this one's pretty cut and dried, but I always hear other voices on these, right? Like what's before we start on these, you said you've been keeping a tally. It's the agree versus disagree is, I think, 8-5.
Yes, we've agreed more often than we haven't,
It
but
doesn't feel like that for the record, but we will go on. We will continue.
I think there's only been 2 weeks recorded, so perhaps
Yeah.
that's why.
Okay. Okay.
But I feel like it's cut and dry too. I'm gonna
Hopefully we
keep
feel like it's the same, but it's happened otherwise where it's been like, oh yeah, this is cut and dry, and then we see it completely different. So go on. Yeah. What's your hold here?
I'm gonna keep the flush and the shot at possibly 16 here. I'm not worried about 8, 10. With them being as far back as the 75 hole, which is halfway down Third Street. So 2, 3, 4 queen, all hearts. I'll probably see what the cut is before I decide what I'm gonna lead. But yeah.
Okay, I agree with the flush here. I think it's you kind of go here almost no matter what. My lean here with this spot like this is if I miss the cut, right? So if I don't cut, say like a two, a three, a four, or a queen, um, if I cut something weird like a seven or something that doesn't help me there, I think seven's the only cut that doesn't help this one off the top of my head, but um, then I'm going to lead the queen in that spot and maybe get a little funky with it. Maybe if they 15 it, even play the four on it at that point. See if I can encourage a run. But otherwise, just lead the three, keep it moving.
That's exactly how I would play it, and playing the 4 on the 5 is exactly, something I do, and I think more often than not, they'll just make it 29, and I'll just take the 31, but that's a good play.
Okay, good. Hey, look at that. All right. We agreed like that. That's like a double agree. It's like a super friends agree or something there. So, all right. So we'll move on to the next one here. Thank you, Mike, for your submissions. Again, cribbagepodcast.com is we really would love to have more hands from folks. Okay. So this is from Grassroots over the weekend. This is another in-game situation because this hold is, I feel like in any other spot on the board, very, very easy. And I sent this in the group text, and let me give the spoiler to this one. It's like I'm giving the ending to the movie in the preview, but I did end up pegging out in this spot. So you are first count in hole 117, so four out. Your opponent, you're the non-dealer. So I'm sorry, pardon me. Let me start that over. You are dealer from four out. Your opponent is first count and is two out. And you are dealt a lovely hand on any other spot on the board. Is ace 23559. There is an ace 239 flush in there, but really the flush is immaterial at this point. So you just kind of take the flush out of the equation on this. Ace 23559, and you are trying to get out as dealer from four out. Terry, what's your pleasure on this?
Wow, they're gonna be leading to me. I'd probably keep ace 2, 3, 4, 5.
There's no four here, sir.
Oh, excuse me. Ace 2, 3, 5. My bad.
Okay, ace 235.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're keeping five cards, we got a whole nother story to say there. But okay,
Yeah.
so tell me more about, well, like, what's your plan of getting out from the four that you need here with ace 235?
Honestly, I mean, I just want to keep as many low cards as possible. I think it's mandatory that you jump on whatever the first opportunity is for points, and especially being four out, because if you don't score right away, now you only have three cards to score 4 points with, and I just think your odds of winning diminish greatly. And I don't love this hand, by the way, but yeah, and I decided to keep a 5 just because I don't know. They don't have one. They Chances are they won't have one, um but yeah, so ace 2, 3, 5.
Okay. By the way, I think I sent this one in the group text, and I gotta go and find it now. But I think when I sent it originally, you gave a different answer, which is kind of funny and interesting in itself.
Well, I'm constantly getting things backwards in there, so that could be part of a problem, but
Okay. For the record, I believe what you held in that you said you would hold via the group text. In fact, I'm looking at it. Is you said ace 239. Um, what I ended up doing in this spot is I did hold ace 235. Now I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying it's what I did.
okay.
And similar idea, right? Like at least I try to have a plan, right? I'm creating in these spots. Like, how do I find a way to win in these spots? Right. And my at least thought process with holding the four smallest cards is pair the lead card, maybe like they lead a two, I pair it, and then they have either like a like an eight they play back on it, or even a face card, get my other 15 to get out. What ended up happening is they led a middle card. I think it was an eight. I played the five on it. They played a big card, and then I ran the 3-2 ace and did end up getting out. So I got
Nice.
pretty lucky in that spot. But um, but yeah, this is one I'm willing to like consider that I am wrong on this one. Like maybe the 9 is better to hold with that to be able to run the count up better, right? Like they lead a 4, you play the 9, maybe they play a face card like a king or something, and then you get the run in. So just open to ideas on this one. Like I'll hear somebody out if I could be convinced that I am wrong on this one. Unlike the masterful, like the Dwayne Toll, Eric Locke disagreement hand, where I am not willing to consider that I am wrong. Like this one, I think I'm open to the thought that I'm wrong. So all right, let's keep it moving. All right. It's another grassroots masterpiece here. So you are first count from 19 out. So in hole 102, the opponent is dealing in hole 89, and there are 5, not 4, but 5 flush cards in this one. So let me give you all the cards first: 2, 3, 7, 9, 10, king. The only thing that is not a spade is a 3. So your options are essentially, right, like holding. The most you can hold is 4 points from any of these. So again, you're in hole 102. Your opponent is dealing in hole 89. Terry, what do you like here?
So I think I like the 3-7 toss here. Typically I'll hold. I think you're going to hold a flush no matter what here, but or actually not necessarily, I guess, from 102, but typically when I hold a flush, I'm more likely to do it if there's at least 2 connecting cards in there, so that if I hit one side or the other, I'll end up with 7 or 8 points. But and I just feel like 2, 9, 10 king will most likely keep me out of trouble. I guess if they drop a jack there, I could be in a little bit of trouble, but it's a
Oh,
chance
you
I'm
just
willing
play
to
the
take.
king then, right? I feel like you're pretty safe with the king there.
Oh, true. Yeah. See, again, getting stuff backwards in my head. I was thinking the count was 11, and not 12.
Well, if they play the
Um,
9 though, then you're maybe in a tricky spot. The 9 is maybe what you worry about being played on your 2 there, right? Because I don't think
right.
you want to pair it and risk trips in that kind of spot, especially since you're not keeping a real hand.
I would play the king there. They'll still probably get a 31 for 2, but I doubt they're keeping a king with their 9. So
Okay. I this is another one where so king 3 was what I ended up throwing in this spot. And I'm open to the thought of king 9 maybe being the better throw here, right? Like you can hold 2, 3, 7, 10, just kind of break your hand, right? Is it really worth it having risk here and holding, throwing something with any element of risk to hold 4 points instead of 2 once you're at 102? To me, not really. So to me, I'm looking for kind of avoiding variance as much as I can. And I feel like if I hold 2, 3, 7, 10 in this spot, I feel like I can stay out of trouble pretty well here, right? Lead the 3. Even if they pair it, then I've got the 10 to get the count like high enough, right? Over 15. My idea is I just don't want 5 different things to converge to lose this game. So I think I threw king 3 on the spot, but I think with the luck of a little more time here, I think king 9 is the proper throw.
yeah, I mean, I'm prioritizing staying out of trouble pegging more than I am, potentially a bigger crib, and I don't think king 9, 7, 3. I don't know that there's drastic differences there. I don't mind either of those tosses, honestly. I
But I mean,
wouldn't
it's
want to.
it's it's a lot harder to get in trouble with king nine than 7-3, right? Like there's a world where they throw, I don't know, like 10-5, and then you cut a 5 there, right? All of a sudden that's a 10 crib that could put this game at risk. Yes, like things can go wrong with king nine, but there's only, the only thing that can really go wrong with king nine is what they throw 7-8 and then cut an 8 or something.
Or just faces and fives, yeah. But you'd really have to. I just feel like you'd have to align the stars to for that to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we see it similar but different. So we'll count that as a disagree here. All right. So here's another one. This is just one that again happened at club this week, and it's one of those. Every time I went to mix this hand, how to throw it, it was like none of these feel right. So this is one of these. I think it's mentioned in like the Delenn book. Right? It's a new drinking game. When Jason brings up the Delenn book on this show, take a drink. But so you are first count in hole 49. Your opponent is dealing from hole 36, and the hand you were dealt is 2, 3, 3, 5, 5, 7. This is one of these where like there's sneakily like nothing that makes me too thrilled here. What do you think?
I would throw the 3-7 offsuit and just keep the 2-3-5-5.
Okay. And that's for the record, that's where I landed, and I think that's where it should be. I, there's a case to be made for 7-2 in this spot. Right, like this is a position, right? You're in hole 49, they're in hole 36. This is where you want to be in a game, right? You feel in control in this one, right? Your opponent is 7 to 9 points short of where they should be. You're kind of in that land where you're getting nowhere near hole 69, 70, where you want to be. So I think, like, just still playing optimal at this point more than playing defense, but not reckless. That's why, like, I don't know, like 7-2 in some places is the throw, but I want some points. So I don't know. For the record, I think I did this through the 2, 3, 5, 5, or held the 2, 3, 5, 5, and of course cut a 9. So that's how those go. But that should not affect the results in that one. All right, so we marked down another agree here.
Well, 3-3-5-5 would have been my second choice, though, just for the record.
Okay. All right, here's another fun one. I like this one. This one might be a little more cut and dried, but this is one of these just certain spots you pick up hands and you go, what? So you are dealing in hole 98. So you have to deal out from 23. Your opponent is first count in hole 106. There's a flush in play here. You are dealt ace 2, 4, 7, 9, 9. Everything but the nines is a spade. So again, maybe this is a little on the easier side, but there's two distinct paths that you can go here.
Yeah, I guess I kind of lean towards the flush, ace 2, 4, 7, toss the pair to the crib. You're guaranteed at least 2 points by holding the flush, improving by 2 points, I should say. And I guess the reason why I lean that way is I don't really like the ace 7 to the crib. That's another hand where you kind of have to, line the stars to get a crib out of it. Uh, Very super briefly, I looked at maybe throwing ace 4 and keeping deuce 7, 9, 9, but you're just too far away to mess around. So I'm just gonna take the guaranteed 6 in my hand and the guaranteed 2 in my crib and just hope something improves one of them significantly.
Yeah. And yeah, I think the flush is the hold here. Like the 7-8 does not entice me, or 7 ace does not entice me enough to do it the other way. But this is one of these, it's like there's a little nuance to this one because, right, your opponent first count in hole 106, 15 out. Like you kind of need you need offense and defense in this spot at the same time, which is difficult to do. And so it's like navigating the pegging of this kind of hand, because I don't know, you and I both played games like this where it's right, the flesh is the hold. I think we're there. But it's like, yeah, you don't want to give up 3, 4 holes to a pwn, and all of a sudden, right, then the next hand, even if they only have, say you give up 4 holes to them, right, and they only have a 6-point hand, then the next hand they're dealing out from 5, and that is no picnic. So it's a really dicey spot here. Just a little nuance to be had. All right. What's our count at? What are we like 3-2 on agree, disagree at this point? So
3-1.
3-1. Okay. All right. So this is your hand. Is this with one of your Georgia hands? One of the
No, this was the hand against Lori.
okay.
So this is what was going to be the final hand of the final game of the tournament. And it might be cut and dry here, but I was worried about the pegging. So I'm in the 112 hole, so I'm 9 out. Lori is dealing from 115 out. So she's close enough. She could peg out on me, and I still have to avoid the jack, of course, to be cut. And I'm holding 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. And I took a solid minute and a half to 2 minutes to think about this, because I'm like, if I hold, for instance, 3, 5, 6, 7, everything helps it, but I'm not sure if it's going to peg as well as another option. If I'm 7 out instead of 9 out, my life is way easier, I feel like. So I don't know how. What's your choice here?
So let me back up for 1 second. So for anybody that's a newer player, when you are on spots like these, do not ever feel guilty about taking your time, right? You just mentioned you took like 2 minutes to think about this one.
I did.
Feel free, take all the time you need. I don't think you want to necessarily give away that you don't have enough. I mean, you sometimes you do that. Just sometimes hands take a time to think about it. But I think it is very important in these spots to take your time, think about every element of this, right? Not only like count the outs, right? Because some of these they matter more than others, but also like I try to run through my head before it happens what's going to happen, what my game plan is with each cut, right? So, and for the record, I think 3, 5, 6, 7 is the way I would hold this because of what you said before, right? Every cut hits it. Um, and it's like, how do I want to navigate it if I cut to 7 points? How many, how do I want to navigate it if I cut to enough points to get out? Right. That to me is like what is running through my head on these. But yeah, I think I want 3, 5, 6, 7 just because I don't want to see that. Trying to think what would like if a 2 cuts or what is it? If I hold 5, 6, 7, 9, there is what is it? It's the I think everything hits that one as well. 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so everything gets me to at least 7 points with that one, but I just don't love my chances to peg 2 with that hand. I like assuming I cut to 7, I like my chances to peg 2 if I lead the 3. It seems like there's less trouble to get into. I think if I hit the cut and get out, I think I'm leading the 6 and trying to just navigate that as best as I can. But again, part depends on what the cut is. And you mentioned you're playing Lori in this spot, like it's like, but especially as you're playing matches, you have a feel for certain opponents and how they're going to navigate certain things. So, right, like in a spot like this, I don't want to necessarily give away that I don't have enough, and I certainly don't want to give away that I do have enough after the cut if the cut hits me. So that's a long-winded answer, but that's my logic behind these.
So I agreed, and I kept the 3, 5, 6, 7. I really wanted to, for some reason, I wanted to keep the 5, 6, 7, 9, because I just thought the 9 being kind of the deceptive card, could have led to some pegging. Maybe she dumps an ace on it. Um, maybe she takes the 15. I just felt like, I don't know, but what gave me pause was the 9's my out card and she's too close. So I pivoted back to 3, 5, 6, 7, and if I missed the cut, I was probably going to lead the 6 or the 7, because I just didn't feel like I
Hmm.
could score off the 3 right away. Like, I want to score as fast as I can, and so that's what my dilemma was. Like you said, you need to have a plan, and I that's what I normally I think of plan A and plan B. This time I was trying to think of plan A, B, C, D, E, and F, and so I chucked the 910 to the crib and we cut a 5. And I actually did lead the 3. I was more comfortable with that for some reason. If I got paired, I'd play the 6. Um,
Yeah, because Lori is a good enough player. She's highly unlikely to hold a pair of threes in that spot, right? Like as a dealer in a spot like this, you want a mix of cards as best you can. You don't necessarily want to, and this is a really tight spot, right? When you're dealer on this side, you don't necessarily want to blindly attack. Like if I was 5 out, I think I would feel better about blindly attacking, but I think I win this game more as dealer by holding my opponent short much more than I will like pegging out. Now, the 5 cut maybe changes that calculus a little bit, but boy, when that cut comes and you just fight, you have to fight all urges to be like, oh, thank God,
yeah. I was like, please don't blow this whole tournament by a 2-point loss in the final game. And yeah, and the other interesting thing about this game was early in the game, I had a 20 hand, 20 or 21 with threes, fours, and fives. And in that same hand, I actually got 31 for 8 with my fives because I kind of trapped her. We kind of had stuff in the same area, and she was either going to give me 31 for 8 or 31 for 5. And so it was a ton of points all at once. And Lori, like, I think she threatened to slap me or strangle me or whatever, at least 4 times during the match, because I kept putting her in these tough spots with the pegging where she was kind of trapped. Some of them I think were bluffs on my part, and some of them were like, I need to peg. So the circumstances were different, and that's what makes Lori such a fun player, because she likes to banter, and that's right up my wheelhouse. So I enjoy playing her. But
yeah.
but yeah, but so then when all that happened, I had the big hand, the big pegging sequence. I was up by probably at least 20, 25, maybe more. And something just told me this has been a crazy series here. It's been a crazy match, and it's probably going to get tightened up. And it absolutely did, as you could see by where we were at the start of this final hand. So I wasn't comfortable at any point in the match. Let's put it that way.
Just out of curiosity, I think we got one more hand to do before we close things up here. But when you're in this spot, 112, 115 is first, as non-dealer. How many times out of 10 are you expecting to win this spot? 6, 7,
That's
8?
fair. Yeah, the majority of the time I would say, but it's dicey, because I mean 9 points is a lot, and there's a lot of ways to hold 6 or 7, and you might have to peg the rest of it, but I'd say at least 6 or 7 out of 10 I feel like I'm going to win.
Okay. Oh, and one thing you talked about potentially with some of the other ways to play this or hold this, you were talking about leading the 7 potentially um, out of this. I guess if you missed, but I feel like, especially if you have 3, 5, 6, 7, I can't really imagine a world in which you still win this game if they play an 8 on your 7 and then you come back with the 6.
True, the 6 would probably be the lead, having thought
Okay.
about it
That's
more. Yeah.
kind of my lean on that one too, right? You kind of hope to get paired at that point. Although, again, depending on the opponent, and again, if I'm dealer in this spot from 6 out, I am I'm probably not leading a lot of pairing a lot of lead cards, I should say, in a spot like this. Just right, like I'd like to see another card come off before I kind of make those pure decisions. But if you make the decision beforehand that you got to get out from 6, then it's pretty hard to do that if you don't hit that lead card. So 5 out, to me, that's set the line of like 5 out. I feel a lot better about my chances to get there. But I think 6 out, I think you just got to sit back, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me see. I think we might have one more here. Okay. Here we go. Is this one? It's another one of yours here, Terry. So I'm gonna let you introduce it. I think this is our last one for the day. Was it we stand for 4 agree and 1 disagree, right? What's going on?
That's correct. Yeah, I don't know.
Wow, goodness.
I
Right.
this one
I
this
I'm
one
I'm
might be
worried about
different.
myself.
So this was my game against Michael Burnham, and it was game 21 of the 22. Had I won it, I would have had 28 points and not necessarily had to sweat out that last game. So I'm really trying to win it, and I don't have a great hand here. So I'm in the 113 hole, Poon. He's back in the 104 hole, so he needs 17 to go out if he's going to do it all in one shot. And I've got a really rough looking hand here. I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, queen, queen. So
All
how
right.
do you like it?
So, all right, here's another one of these where it's like I feel like I could be convinced otherwise. So at least running through my logic on this, right? Like there's not a whole lot of cuts here, no matter what I hold, that I'm going to get out. So the thought process is being like, you know, hopefully get far enough down. I mean, ideally, right? You hold a hand, you hit the hand enough that you actually do manage to get out. There's some holds where you can have, like plenty of outs to get out here, but not a ton, no matter how you do it. But I think you have to hold the two queens no matter what. So the question is, what cards go along with that? And at least at first glance, I think I'm throwing 8-2. I think I'm holding 4-6 queen queen here. Throwing the 8-2 because then the 5 cut mitigates any problems, right? 5 cut and I'm out. And just hoping I cut to 4 here and seeing if I can play some magic with this. I think you could make a case for 2-4 queen queen, and I would hear somebody out to like break it and hold like 4-8 queen queen or something like that. But I gotta get going in this spot here. And these are hands where when I'm in hands like this, I'm either gonna throw it super fast to have my opponent not realize that I am short, so sometimes I try to think through these quickly, or I will sit back and take the time. But I just hate giving away the information that it's like, okay, I don't have a hand here. So I think 8-2 is my throw.
I did absolutely none of those.
All right. That's
Right.
I'm here for it, Terry. Like let's hear the magic.
I held 2, 4, 6, 8 and just prioritized an odd card, 3, 5, 7. I mean, an ace gets
Wow.
me 4, a 9 gets me 4. It was an aggressive throw. And here's where it gets tragic. We cut the 3, which was good.
That's a
Yeah.
great cut. That's a
Yeah,
great cut for that.
it was. And so what would you lead there?
They say if you need one go that you lead low, sounds like a Johnny Cochranism. Like so I think I would lead my 2 there.
That's what
And
I did, and I did
okay,
not peg a single point. He had ace 4, king, king, and,
you play the king on your 2, I assume?
I
Or
believe
the
so, and then
'Cause Mike's good enough. I respect Mike Burnham's game. Like, I think if he's the type of player it's in his bag that if you lead the 2, he could plausibly play the ace on it.
right, and did I play my 4 after that? I can't remember. How did I not peg a point? Let's see.
Ace
Yeah,
4, king, king. So if he played the say he played a traditional, right? Played the king on it for 12, then at that point, I think you still play the 4 for 16. And then, right, then he plays another face card for 26. Yeah, and then I think goes would happen. So there had to have been something funky that happened there. So you maybe have
yeah.
2 littles. Do you have like ace, ace, 4, king or something?
No, I think it was 2 faces.
Okay.
After the show, I guess I'll try to remap it out. And then, so what happened was after that, I'm not real worried about anything because I'm feeling like I'm still going to get a chance to peg. But it turned out he threw deuce 3 to his crib. We cut a 3. My 2 queens were in there and he went out.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Although I think even with throwing my way, like 8-2 there, he threw 2-3. That's an 8-point crib. I only have 2 points there. I think I lose there as well. So I don't know if that makes you feel better, but
So everyone that I asked about this, which I think all but one person, I'll get to his in a second, but Locke, Weber, and Rob all would have just kept deuce 4, queen, queen. Someone else mentioned this hold, and admittedly, I never considered it, but deuce 4, 6 queen, and go for a 3 or a 5, and a 9 cut gives you 4. But 8 queen, I wouldn't have hated had I thought about it.
Yeah,
I, I, pro- I probably still go with the hand that I held, honestly.
and these that we're talking through these hands, I feel like are super valuable because I feel like you learn things from the tip top players, right? You learn things about how like just playing the situations because I think if your opponent is a couple more holes further back or a couple more holes further ahead, I think that can affect how you're going to hold this, right? How important it is to because I don't know if they're dealing at like I don't know like 96, 97 here or something like that, then I'm never throwing the queens, right? And I don't think you would either. Then I think at that point you just break your hand and you decide if you really want to bother holding two. But I think it's the options on the table to throw like queen six here, queen eight.
Right.
But I think not from this spot. I just don't want to be at the mercy of my opponent catching a big hand, and I just like didn't have any chance to get out. And yeah, 6-8 ran through my mind there as well. But I think that one's tight. That one's tight. I don't
I
know.
just didn't think I'd be able to peg well with deuce 4, queen, queen, but in hindsight, ace 3, 5 gets me fairly close. So, you know, and a 9 also gets me 4. He wouldn't have gone out, in other words, based on what we now know that he threw.
Again, that is kind of the perfect storm, right? Like throwing 6-8 to your opponent's crib is a very risky throw, but it's like the Rob stopper we talk about, right? 7-9, kind of similar. Right. It bricks the 2-3. So it's like that's the dream throw to the crib if your opponent is throwing 2-3 to their own crib. So also very
Right.
interesting in itself from that spot. It seems like if he had the hands that he did, he had ace 2-3-4 face face, and then he threw the 2-3. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but at standard practice, I think is throwing the faces to your own crib on that one, rather than the 2-3. Right? You hold ace 2-3-4.
I don't
No,
know.
am I?
I
Am
kind
I?
of I like the way he threw it. And the one thing I'd be nervous of keeping all small cards is I'm only 8 out, so you don't want to
Well,
get
that's what I
yourself
mean. This
trapped.
spot might change it a little bit, but I
Yeah.
think middle of the board or something like that. If you're both in hole 30 and it's your crib and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, king, king. I think king, king is the throw there. I used to be team 2-3 on that one, but I have since like swapped. I've been like swayed that holding all the littles in that spot is the better move.
I don't know. I think I still like deuce 3.
Or maybe I'm confusing that with ace 2-3-4-5 face. I think I am now that I'm thinking about it. So it's
Okay. In
just
that
reverse all
case,
the rest of that. Yeah.
yeah, I'm team 5 face in that case.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. I think I'm mixing up those two. So it shows you my fatigue today. So but we still managed to go in. This is one of the longest shows we ever had, like out of nowhere. So an hour 40
Yeah.
minutes for all this silliness. But all right. Well, so when's your next tournament? You got a little break until the holidays, or are you gonna go, hit up north for the any of these times?
Well, I am going to Massachusetts the weekend after this coming one, for a cluster, and then 2 or 3 weeks after that, there's a cluster in Virginia Beach, so
Ooh,
it'll
yeah,
be pretty busy.
I'm feeling the FOMO right now. Like I said, my next tournament's in like 2 months, so I got some grassroots to motor through to keep me going. It's just like the grassroots is. Don't get me wrong, I love our club, right? And it's fun and it is a battle for the championship every year, and I take a lot of pride in that. But it's like that's like sustenance versus going to these tournaments is like a feast, right? It's like that's just enough to keep me alive long enough that I can go to these like 22 gamers and really like, be in that element. So, all
Mhm.
right. Well, all right. Well, thank you to everybody for contributing. Again, cribbagepodcast@gmail.com is the best way to give us feedback, give us your hands, tell us how you would hold and throw and peg all of these things. I really enjoy getting into like the muck of the theory of how we play all these hands. What was the final score on this one? Five
4
to
to
two,
2,
something like four to
fo
two.
and then 12 to 7 overall.
Although there were 7 hands here, something's wrong. So we'll have
Oh, was
to
there?
off
Oh,
air figure out what happened on that. So we miscounted at some point. We'll get it right by the rest of the
my
program.
bad.
So all right. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. And again, thank you to all the contributors, all the hands, all the everything. Everybody have a great weekend. Bring in some trophies like Terry.